from 60. Spears it, hoping for Favola. Fisher cuts it off. Hands off to Houlihan from the stand start to the goal square. O'Halpin's down there. Gathers. Stabs it. Bowls it. A piece of brilliance. Against the odds, it's the Blues by 12 points at quarter time here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. At one stage in the opening term, they led by as much as 26 points, gentlemen. And it's been a good game to watch. Dennis Pagan working overtime.
Fantastic game of football. The contested possessions, 35-27. That's what Dennis Pagan will be driving home. Also, they've had a lot of the ball, Lynchy. 90 possessions. Sydney have won 6 out of their 7 by keeping sides under 290. So Carlton keep going at this. They're going to be right in this game.
And the Swans coach Paul Roos went straight out to the huddle, brought all the players in before they broke up into their individual groups, and had a very pointed chat to the group, and I think was reinforcing what he was probably saying all week. Don't take these guys too lightly. They can play.
The Blues, of course, their season is over. They can't make the finals this year, but the Sydney Swans hoping to play their way back into the 8 and maybe back into contention for a top 4 spot come the end of the home and away season. It's a big afternoon for them as well. 12-point lead to the Blues, and on the boundary line in that beautiful sunshine, Lee Colbert.
G'day there, Dwayno. I can't get hold of Libero. I actually can't find him. He's too small, but he's in there. And Dennis Pagan, he's been pretty demonstrative actually at quarter time. Plenty to say to his boys, so they'll be happy to get going again in this second quarter and hopefully put some scoreboard pressure on the Swans.
Thanks, Leroy. I mentioned earlier that Nick Davis's father, Craig, played for both clubs. Well, Dennis Pagan played for both clubs as well. 123 games for South Melbourne, played for the Kangaroos, 123 games, and now coach of the Blues, of course. He's been one of the great coaches of all time, Dennis Pagan.
He's kept him for a while in that huddle as well. And just to reinforce how they started.
Just watch Gibbs at quarter time there. Lynchy was getting his ankle strapped. Notice he's only had the 1 possession, so not sure whether he's 100% fit. So look forward to seeing how he plays in the second half.
Once again, at the forward end for the Carlton Football Club, they've pushed their whole forward half right up to the 50-metre line and give a lot of space behind. Favola's up on the wing with Leo Barry, and expect the ball to go in long and for the Carlton forwards to turn their opponents and run hard to the top of the goal square and hopefully get a few easy goals running in from close in.
So Favola not starting at full forward for the opening of this second term, the same as the opening quarter. Up on the wing for this bounce to start the second term. Little toe poke off the deck. Simpson pushed out of it. O'Keefe to Jude Bolton. Just pops it inside 50. Barry Hall dives, can't complete it. Bannister shoots the handball out. White around the body, no one home. Craig Bolton back inside 50. Barry Hall getting back, crunched by Simpson. Grabbed by Fosdyke, stabs around the body and gives Sydney the opener for the second.
Great start there from Sydney. Fosdyke, Barry Hall in 2 marking situations there. Not sure whether he's the right option. Malcheski was on his own. We see Hall drop the first one, but was quick enough to get up. The ball got out. We just see Hall and Malcheski there. Great ball from Simpson, but great recovery from Fosdyke. Magnificent opportunist goal there, Lynchy.
Yeah, it was poor choice of passing target. Fosdyke was the player last week in the third quarter that really ignited the Swans against the Fremantle Dockers.
28 possessions last week, Nick Fosdyke, and 13 possessions in the third term alone to get them back into the contest, Sydney. And a good start for the second term. It's back to a 1-goal margin. Carlton led by as much as 26 in the opening term. From the ball up, Jolly in the ruck for Sydney after Everett started in the ruck in the opening term. Carazzo, handball out but in Jude Bolton's direction, caught a little high.
A bit of Russian roulette being played. Leo Barry will take possession of the ball now. Is starting back deep as the loose man defence and leaving Fev up on the wing by himself.
So with no one on him, he runs and kicks to Barry Hall. Too far out to score. Barry Hall knows it. Over the top to Malcheski. He runs inside 50. Chance to tie the scores. Misses.
Well, I'm not sure whether that's the right tactic, Lynchy, leaving Leo Barry on his own, Favola up the ground. I think Sydney would be happy with that because Favola's not going to score goals if he's up the ground, yet they'll be able to generate a lot of run through Leo Barry as we saw in that instance.
And we discussed it in the first quarter. One of the tactics of getting Favola up the ground was to drag Barry away from his very dominant spot, which we've seen over a number of years.
Walker. Long inside 50, getting back. Leo Barry again. So with Brendan Favola up, Leo Barry almost loose between fullback and halfback. Jolly.
Well, it worked in the first quarter because Sydney were caught unawares, Lynchy, but now Paul Roos has obviously said to Leo Barry, stay back, defend the goals. If they're going to kick it long, they'll be kicking it long to an outnumbered situation.
Everett towards Barry Hall. White front position.
Free kick against Barry Hall. Never gets a great run with the umpires, but that was probably a free kick.
Well, Jeff Geesh and the umpire's boss will just about have to build on a room with all the tapes that Sydney have sent him over the years, trying to build a case for Barry Hall to get better treatment from the umpires. Kick toward the wing. Richards thumped it down, but to Fisher. Inside 50 towards Favola. Leo Barry down there. Favola could get on the end of a Kennedy handball.
No.
Kennedy has a shot instead.
Well, what Kennedy had to do then is run towards Leo Barry, draw the player, and it would have been a simple handball over the top. Just wasn't composed, and lack of experience there, really. Should have done better.
I've invested a lot in Josh Kennedy, picked 4 in the draft back in 2005. That was the Murphy and Dale Thomas draft. Craig Bolton sends it wide. Bevan just backward of the wing. 34 plays 28. Craig Bolton straight down the corridor. Spears the pass, hoping for O'Keefe. Made it tough for him. Got a toe on it. Fosdyke. Boundary line looming. O'Keefe caught high. Gets the free.
Well, that's better. Paul Roos at quarter time, Lynchy obviously said we need to win the contested ball, and that's great science from Ryan O'Keefe. You just see there, low and hard.
Runs away from Wiggins and hits Jolly, who held it long enough.
He's dropped that, I thought. I'd like to see the replay, but I thought it just spilled out. The umpire was probably blocked.
I think Hayden Kennedy looked to the boundary umpire to get a signal as to whether that was held or not.
I thought it just bounced off the chest, but he's got a shot on goal. And can, from this sort of range, he can be reasonably accurate for a big man.
Well, this is a big kick to tie the scores. 28 plays 34 after the Blues led by as much as 26. That won't tie the scores. It's across the face. Flyers go up. O'Loughlin tries to steal. Simpson rushes it behind.
Bit of a scuffle in the goal square there.
Sydney Swans just controlling the tempo of the game after that initial 15 minutes where Carlton really dominated the run and possession. Sydney, as they do so well, they just strangled the life out of the opposition to control the tempo and get the ball in their hands.
Short to Carazzo. Lee Colbert.
Adam Hartlett did come off in the first quarter, as you boys reported, with a left hamstring. Won't come back on, and very disappointed. Carlton down to 3 on the bench.
Is that the same hamstring, Lee?
I'm not too sure, Dwayne, because he actually did have some strapping on his right, so I will find that out for you.
Of course, Adam Hartlett might not be the only Hartlett playing AFL footy soon. His brother Hamish represented Australia at under-16 level against South Africa, so the family can play, as can the Davis family. And Davis sends it home. The Swans in front.
Well, he's kicked the goal, and guess what, Lynchy? He's coming off the ground. The rotation value again, we see Nick Davis there. Opportunist goal, had 2 shots on goal in the first quarter, but bad positioning. Bad positioning from young Bauer there, again on Nick Davis. Allowed Nick Davis to get goal side. When that stoppage is 60 metres out from goal, you have to stand between your direct opponent and the goals and force him to kick the ball over your fingernails. He'll learn from that young Bauer.
After a couple of misses in the opening term, Nick Davis finally slots one, and the Swans hit the lead for the first time today. 35 plays 34. From the ruck contest, Everett. Goods between his legs and good enough to get it again. Murphy just wobbles it wide. Race on. Young got there first, looped the handle to Scotland. Carazzo having an outstanding year. Favola, a little push from Leo Barry. He tried to accentuate it, and the umpire would have none of it.
They'll be putting their hair out in the Carlton box at the moment. So often we see Carlton start well, only to let the opposition run over the top of them.
O'Keefe, short towards Barry Hall, on the chest. Did Brendan Favola deserve a free kick then, or did he play for it?
Well,
They've played worse this year, Dwayne.
yeah, but whether he's got the free kick or not, he's talking to the umpire now. He just wants to set himself to be really imposing, make a big, strong contest. He went to ground pretty easy. As far as the rule is concerned, it probably was a free kick with the hands in the back.
It was
but
there.
you got to hold your ground and try to make a good contest.
Barry Hall lines it up from the paint of the 50. You can hear the oohs and ahs from the crowd. That's across the face, only a behind. 2-point lead to the Swans. Barry Hall, 3 goals won last week. He's been a little inaccurate this year.
Carlton have been getting a good rub from the green of the umpires at the moment, though. 9-3 free kicks Carlton's favour.
And a lot of talk as to whether Barry Hall's injuries have just forced him to not be able to kick through the ball at goal this year. Certainly his accuracy rate is down. Kick towards the wing. Kennedy. Arm half slapped. Umpire said it was all right. O'Keefe. Matthews. Jude Bolton loops it over the top to McVeigh. Long ball from his boot. Getting and making the ground is Schneider.
Hold one out.
Just inside the boundary line. Plays on. Jolly. Not the third grab. Did control it according to the umpire.
Well, did he control the ball? Probably second bite was the best one out at Lynchy. Not sure about the first or the third.
Well,
So
probably similar to the Eddie Betts one. As far as taking control of the ball, he hasn't done that, but he's had a few decent pieces of it. And the umpire, they're in the mood at the moment to pay. If you've had 3 or 4 grabs, we'll pay the mark.
great learning curve for O'Halpin there also. The first fumble, he just assumed he was going to mark it. If he had followed through with a body spoil, that ball would have spilt. So he'll learn from that, O'Halpin.
Been fairly accurate this year as well. Darren Jolly has kicked 10 goals, 4 for the year. Make that 11 for the Swans on the move.
And it's an 8-point difference, but the Carlton Footy Club are in real strife at the moment. Possible free kick to Favola at the other end. Now they've conceded 7 points in the next 2 minutes after that decision wasn't paid. And you're spot on, Spud, as all good full backs should know, don't anticipate that the player is going to take the mark, and make sure you're there in the contest.
Don't assume. Glenn Archer's probably the best I've seen at the body spoil. He will really make you earn that free kick, Lynchy.
In your day, you used to hit the head as well.
Accidentally.
Darren Jolly is giving the head a rub. Got one to the ear on the 3rd attempt. 42 plays 34. The Swans finally in control of this game. From the ball up, free kick. Hayden Kennedy on the spot.
And when the
And it might be 50. It was a Swans free. Scotland played on and kicked it.
The umpire's feeling a little bit generous. Certainly the rub of the green was going well and truly Carlton's way early, but has swung around to the Sydney Swans just as far as the bounce of the ball has gone.
Kirk, Malcheski, Matthews, Malcheski, McVeigh.
The big difference in the first quarter, the second quarter, Lynchy, is the leg rope on your direct opponent. Carlton were terrific in the first 20 minutes of this game. The start of this second quarter, the amount of space between themselves and their direct opponent is just about a cricket pitch.
And that's probably what they miss. They've got the talented kids, but they need the hardened professionals like Kirk and Jude Bolton just to hold it all
Leaders.
together.
Jared McVeigh started on the bench this afternoon. First deliberate shot at goal. Likes it off the boot. The Blues on the ropes.
Lynchy, that's a good point you make about the leadership of Sydney and how they're able just to turn it around with Goods, Kirk, Ablett. You talked about that. That's the next phase for the Carlton Football Club. It's pretty hard asked to ask Kurtafidis, who's in the twilight of his career. When you look at their midfield, Gibbs, Murphy, hard to expect those guys. They need some young, tough players that can win the contest in any situation. Don't worry about scoreboard pressure.
First goal for Jared McVeigh. He's at Sydney after being picked 5 back in 2002, the year that Carlton had their first 2 picks taken away due to salary cap breaches. The Swans might not have got him if they had pick 7, which they thought they were going to have in that draft. And luckily that was reduced to pick 5. Matthews got the handball out. O'Keefe manhandled. Kirk through traffic. Matthews, Adam Goods, Simpson attacks it, collects it. He's caught. Good tackle.
Oh, no.
Trouble.
I disagree with that. Simpson was the one who went in low and hard to get the ball. He attacked the ball and he was sat on by the Swans players, and it's not easy to knock the ball out now. He grabs the ball and drags it in. Now that's what the umpires tell you, and they reinforce that all the time. You can't drag the ball in, but he was the player who was initiating the play and wanted to get the ball.
Correct weight, Lynchy. He played on instinct there. He's been doing that since he was 5 years of age.
Can't take that.
Had to be a ball up, yep.
Jared McVeigh for his 2nd in 60 seconds. And maybe the footy gods are here with you, Alistair. Only behind.
Well, Carlton players have got to, I mean, it's great to run and carry the ball, but they've got to find an opponent and use him as a starting point, and just don't let the Sydney Swans get the easy possessions that they've been able to get in the early part of this quarter. Must shut them down and get the tempo of the game back in their favour.
Just a reminder, we're on Favola watch. No touches the last 19 minutes. Walker, he might get one here. Kick towards half forward, Young. And he takes it across the boundary line. Ross Young, who's not necessarily young, turns 24 later this year, playing just game number 6.
It's young compared to us right
That's
here.
true. But not compared to players in their 1st or 2nd year. A mature recruit. And we'll get another ball up. Kurtafidi, speaking of not young, doing the tackling.
This is where Sydney are right on top this quarter. The clearances, 5-1, Sydney's favour.
And the ball up, Everett. Carazzo, handball out, runner got in the way. Murphy, handballs it back. Carazzo, caught, dump, ball.
Did he have prior opportunity?
No, it was even probably punishing the guy that handballed the ball. It was a poor decision.
Well, once he fumbled at young Murphy, he had to know that his direct teammate was under the pump, and we just see there the handball. Gee, wasn't a lot of prior opportunity there.
Schneider to Barry Hall, got an arm slapped, and the umpire allowed that one. White, Carazzo with the half volley. Just pops the pass toward Lappin, who we haven't seen a lot of.
Started on the bench.
Just returned to the field about 2 minutes ago, and we're playing across half forward, just looking for a bit of a spark out of the experienced player.
It's his first possession. Finds Bentic. Calder Cannon's premiership captain in the under-18s, Adam Bentic, inside 50. Favola couldn't get a jump at it. Crowd calling for ball again, and they get it again.
They're red hot on that one.
Well, they know their footy here, the crowd.
They're consistent anyway.
Yeah, well, that's all you ask, and players pick it up pretty quick.
Yeah, they should react to it now.
And yeah, there's no excuse now. But Carlton, it's an understatement to say they need this one. They have certainly been pushed out of the corridor, and even this shot is from well outside the corridor. Certainly the Sydney Swans have controlled that facet of the game.
We've played 16 goalless minutes in this term as far as the Blues are concerned, and Brad Fisher slots it.
Much needed goal from the Carlton Football Club. The key was they were able to put some pressure on in their forward 50. The last 20 minutes we see Leo Barry go up, fumble the mark. Yes, and at least they're consistent. Happened up the other end, so the players now need to react to that. They know if any instance or doubt, need to hit the ball out. You're going to drag it in and win the ball at ground level, you're going to get pinged there today. So players need to be aware of that.
First goal of the afternoon for Brad Fisher, a very good late pick for the Blues back in 2002. Pick 72 that year. Blues had the 3 picks, the last 3 picks. They took Fisher, Carl Norman and Mick Martin. And this is game number 64 for Brad Fisher. From the ball up, Goods tie up with Bannister.
He's a good type, Brad Fisher. He marks the ball like a key position player, yet he's a half-forward flanker.
He's had that fractured cheekbone earlier this year. It's good to see that he's back and playing some good football again. O'Halpin, a drop kick with his arm held. Jude Bolton to Schneider. Shrugs 2 tackles. Kicks in the McVeigh direction. He's hot at the moment. Ball bounces unkindly for him. Walker. Boundary line looming. Doesn't want it. Should have taken it. McVeigh. Play on, not 15, back towards Walker. And we'll get a ball in. Lee Colbert.
McVeigh's worked it out for the Sydney Swans boys. He's the only one to actually have a shot on goal and miss and stay on the ground. So I think he's well and truly worked it out.
Well, the rotation has been working for Sydney. What a palm down from Jolly. Got it to Davis. Couldn't get the kick away correctly. Scotland to Bentic. Fisher all the way down to half-back. Takes the mark.
I think Carlton would pick up on that. The last 2 stoppages in that part of the ground, Jolly has dropped the ball down to his left, down to Davis. So surely you've got to be goal side of him and stop that run.
Ty Kanini with the big fist. Schneider, McVeigh. Sold the dummy to Young. Centering kick to Kirk. Body commitment on the line, as you would expect for Kirk. And he goes as a reward.
Great play, great mark, and just bodylined the ball. And Bryce Gibbs will learn from that, Lynchy, because Brett Kirk only had one option there. He was going to bodyline the ball there, and we see young Gibbs. Look, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a youngster, and that's the level he has to get to.
And the good thing is, like, Kirk has built a reputation that there was no way he was going to jump off the line, and young Gibbs knew that, and it was going to be a big body clash if he took it on. But great mark, great goal.
He's a star, Brett Kirk. He's undersold. He was a tagger for a couple of years, but 2 years ago was equal 4th in the Brownlow behind Judd Prosciutto and Chad Corns.
His intent there was absolutely sensational in that marking situation.
And he's as good to watch.
That's where
As
Carlton,
probably the top 10 or 12 superstars in the competition.
You're right. That's where Carlton need to recruit those types.
Wouldn't they love a guy like that to go in and complement the young talent, the ball carrying ability, have a Kirk to go in there and just really stiffen it up.
And of course, he wasn't wanted when he first came to the club. He was sent back to North Albury. Went back for a year and got a second chance. And here he is on hands and knees on cue. Kirk with the handball, doesn't find the target. Walker bets. O'Loughlin to his own advantage. Finally. Richards. O'Keefe. Controlling it but messing with it.
Numbers again forward.
Kick not good. Cut off by Lappin. Possession number 2 for him for the day. Bentic. Thornton. O'Loughlin. Leo Barry. Gets around for Vola. O'Loughlin gets around Lappin. Now Craig Bolton. Spears the pass to Schmidt, and they're away. Schmidt to Bevan. Couple of options inside 50 if he wants them. Sends it long in the Davis direction. High kick, front spot, Bauer. Played on.
But he's played on.
Into trouble, gone. Holding the ball.
Just haven't thought their way through this quarter. The Carlton Footy Club, there's been a few execution problems, but this is a decision-making problem. Didn't have the composure to go back, slow down, and then look for a runner behind to give the handball to.
It's just the awareness factor, Lynchy, because he had to know that Davis was in the vicinity. He took a very good mark. He backed himself in, but just have some awareness, take a deep breath, then assess.
And you just don't give Nick Davis shots at goals inside 50 that easily, because he rarely misses. And he doesn't miss this time. He's got 2-2 for the afternoon.
Floodgates are starting to open possession-wise after being down in that first 15 minutes of the first quarter. Sydney are taking control, 148 to 127. Once again, just a poor decision. He knew perfectly well where his opponent was, just had to settle down. And even players around him got to tell him to slow down, go back, take your time. It's late in the second quarter. We just need to control things a little bit better. That's an important goal for Davis once again.
Second goal for Nick Davis. Just allowed Paul Bauer to play on, hoping he'd play on into trouble, and he got his wish. Pagan and Kernahan sitting behind him. Just lurking behind him at the moment, Stephen Kernahan. Making some assessments, perhaps, the director of football. For Vol. Speaking of making assessments, high kick towards full forward from Brendan Favola. The Carlton faithful will be assessing Fev. Will he be here next year?
He's had a quiet second quarter, and I think everyone from Carlton, certainly in the coach's box, will be just wanting a few big contests, a few chasing tackles, and a bit of forward pressure for Fev to finish off this half. Not so much the high marks, but just the effort.
When I say here, I mean here when Carlton come and play. Whether he'll be playing for another club, you doubt he'll be playing for Sydney next year. Jolly got the kick away. Jude Bolton to Goods. Past Fisher. Richards. Ablett. McVeigh's got 2 to beat inside 50. Bouncing ball. Wiggins. Little 1-2 works very well. Simpson. Short. Young. Wide.
Terrible.
And terrible.
The skills are starting to let them down now.
In his defence, Everett did come straight off the bench.
Schneider. No one to go to, so doesn't turn it over to Ablett. McVeigh. Ablett. It's a possession fest at the moment. Long towards Barry Hall. Flies. Can't bring it down. And the boundary line too fast for Adam Goods. Ball in. 61. Plays 40. There's this turnover from Young.
Just Everett just went straight off the bench.
Coming out the 5th row there.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
A set play from Paul Roos, is it? He's clever by the minute. Everett dragged down by Koutafidis.
Goods and Matthews are just cannoned into each other, and Goods come off a little bit worse for wear. He's up now and just hobbling around. But hit outs, and certainly in this situation, big advantage to Sydney Swans. 25 to Carlton 6.
Everett again. Palm down. Koutafidis. Scotland. Caught by Fosdyke.
Now, you would hope now that Carlton would obviously know there's a big advantage to the Swans as far as the ruck contests go. You need a third-up jumper. You need someone to help their ruckman out. Everett's just dominating the taps here. So watch for someone like Walker to get up, although he's just out of the pack now. But you need a jumper to help out.
From the ball up.
Oh, gee, Bow's got a good goal side of Davis. Very lucky there.
Koutafidis slung, just got the kick away. Davis again. You spoke about it.
Oh.
And Davis is giving that goal umpire whiplash. He's got 3 for the quarter.
Well, I think Dennis Pagan will be absolutely devastated. Now, that is 3 out of the last 5 stoppages in the forward 50 that either Jolly or Everett has dropped the ball down to their left to find someone like Davis, and that is too easy, and there is no touch and feel, as they talk about in the defensive half, from the opponent of Davis.
The simple instruction for Bauer on Davis, Lynchy, is finger in the back. Finger in the back, you know where he is, then you can spectate the ball.
27-point lead to Sydney. That's the biggest lead of the game so far. Carlton led by 26 points halfway through the opening term. And Nick Davis has 3 goals, all in this quarter. The Blues in trouble. The Sydney Swans on the march again. Inside the top 8 perhaps tonight. Goods gets it from Fosdyke. Takes on 3. Sends it long. McVeigh having a good quarter. Outreach this time. Nice mark to Wiggins. Wobbler. Made it tough for Scotland.
McVeigh's had the 7 touches so far in this quarter for the Swans. Been very good.
Murphy told to play on. Lee Colbert.
Fev actually just coming back on the ground. Had a little bit of a spell for a minute or 2 and back into the end of the action.
Didn't take his boots off while on the bench, Lee?
No, mate, he didn't. He's got those beautiful white ones on.
Had the yellow ones on up here last year. Looked spectacular, but Carlton were beaten by 92 points here last year. Scotland across the defensive goal. Halpin held it long enough.
Houlihan's now gone under Nick Davis, who's got the ball now, Dwayne.
So Houlihan wide. Fisher. Held up by Ty Kennelly.
Inside 50s, 14-5 in favour of the Swans.
Murphy.
It's just been their positioning, Lynchy, the Carlton boys. They were terrific the first 20 minutes. Their intensity levels, they were first to the ball, had a great starting point, and then they just started playing off the Sydney players, which allowed them into the game.
Well, just possession 5 for Mark Murphy. Found Fisher. Inside 50, Favola had 3 to beat. Bentic legged. And it'll come back.
He's got the free kick.
Let him bent it. Tucked into the pocket. They're not deep pockets here at the SCG. Centering kick. Hoping for Favola. Everett had the reach on him. Halpin. Clever palm down to Wiggins. Caught. Good tackle by Matthews. Out to Murphy. Possession 6 for him. Scotland. Spoiled by Kirk. Dempster. Didn't collect it. Scotland did, but gave it to McVeigh. Hands to Kirk. Centering ball. Walker. Forced to get a palm on it. Murphy. Favola over the top. Wiggins. Scotland. Boundary line gives them all a breather. 28 minutes gone, second term. 2.5 to go to half time, and it's 67-40. Blues in trouble. They'll be happy to see the half-time break come quickly to reset. Thornton in the back gets the free.
So you need this, need a shot on goal. That'll be brought back. Didn't need actually that slight hold up for 10 seconds. Just allows the Swans to get back in big numbers. They've got every player in the defensive half to crowd it up for Carlton.
So Thornton just bangs it along, hoping for Favola. And a miracle, Brad Fisher takes the mark.
He's a great grab. And as you said, he's had to play. He's probably an undersized centre-half forward. And when Carlton develop, he's going to be a very good third tall forward who can do this sort of stuff, jump over a pack and take a very good mark.
He does. He floats in from the side and he leaps early. Ty Canelli just assumed he was going to stay down. He tried to go up, but it was too late.
He's already got one. Very important kick, never in doubt. The Blues with some momentum perhaps to half-time.
They hang in there. It's just those positioning things, Lynchy, those little things as we see Fisher here just sliding in from the side of the pack. That was a magnificent mark, but equally a good goal. Dennis just needs to address around the stoppages, make sure your goal side of your direct opponent, a bit of touch and feel, keep winning the ball. They're hanging in there.
Yeah, a bit of accountability and try to spread those clearances, which worked so well for him in the first quarter. Just got to try to open them up again.
2 goals to Brad Fisher. 67-46. Now within touch. It's been a big quarter for the Sydney Swans. They've kicked 7 goals in this term. And it's not over yet. From the ball up. No one going anywhere. They're holding the ball.
They're really hot on that. There's been a directive during the week, you would have thought.
Did Bentic take them on then?
It didn't get far.
Jude Bolton.
Fosdyke's on.
And can run. And he can load up to the square. Barry Hall leading back to the goal square. He's about to fly. Goods! Over the top, Adam Goods.
What a magnificent mark from Goods. And again, just positioning. Jordan Bannister, look, he's going okay on Adam Goods, but we just see here, Goods been able to get goal side of his direct opponent in Bannister that's spectating the ball. That was some mark. But it's just those little things, the positioning of your direct opponent, goal side again. That's the thing that's letting Carlton down in this game of football in this second quarter.
He's re-signed again with the club, Adam Goods. He'll be a Sydney Swan until at least 30 years of age. He's signed until 2010. And in game 201, he slots it in the shadows of half-time.
Well, that hurts Lynchy, doesn't it? Because the last 3 goals have been Carlton's opportunity to stand in the right position. Look, it was a fantastic mark from Goods, but just your ability to defend in the right spot.
It is a good mark, but you've got 3 players of some height and note to get up there and put at least a little body on it, hit the arms or hit the ball, but you just can't concede a mark like that. He is a class act. There's not too many going around like him, but at the same time, you've got to put some body in that contest in the air.
Still only 27 years of age, Adam Goods. Looks bound for 300. From the ball up. Beautiful palm down. Everett, Jude Bolton in the Barry Hall direction. Waite with him. Hall takes him on. Dribbles a handball out as the last option. Carazzo Caught, brought down, dropped it. And Walker sees it across with 18 seconds left on the clock to half-time.
The hit-outs are starting to really hurt Carlton. 30-7 in favour of the Swans, and that's going hand in hand with the clearances, 22-12. There's Davis again.
Seconds ticking away. Schneider. Back with the flight, Gibbs. Thornton. They need a mark from this. Favola takes the mark. 3 seconds left. No one's in the goal square.
He can get the journey here. This is very interesting. He's a beautiful kick of the ball. He's 60 metres out.
Will he go the torpedo, Lynchy?
Well, he's one of the few players in the competition that can kick a drop punt this far. So, I mean, if it was probably me or you, we'd be trying to tee everything up with the torp. But he can kick a drop punt 60 metres, and he'll give it a ride here.
Well, this is his kind of stage. Everybody in the stadium watching to produce a miracle. To the boos, even better. And he loads up with a long drop punt, but it doesn't get there. Everett marks it on the line.
Didn't quite get it. A little bit high up on the foot. Didn't flush it.
Still went 65.
Still had us covered.
I need a rocket launcher to kick it that far, Lynchy.
Peter Everett with a smile on his face. He's having a good time of it in the ruck. The Sydney Swans, who are down by 26 points halfway through the opening term. At halftime here, they've fought their way back to a big margin. 11-7-73 to Carlton, 7-4-46.